New Hampshire. It's the state always asking Vermont to do something about the weed smell. But today, they were the state holding the second Democratic primary. And because normally the most exciting thing to do in New Hampshire is watch mountains grow, Election Day gets the people going like nothing else.
After months of campaigning and millions of dollars in TV ads, it all comes down to this. Voters here in New Hampshire already heading to the polls. Overnight in New Hampshire, the first votes were cast in the Granite State. As they've done for decades, the tiny town of Dixville Notch went to the polls at midnight.
We were in Exeter, New Hampshire, at the town hall there. It was beyond capacity.
People have been coming in here all day. They've been lined up since 5 a.m. this morning.
They vote for sport here in New Hampshire.
I have voted for Warren.
Steyer.
Why?
He's cute. No, he seems like he can tackle Trump.
I voted for Bernie.
I voted for Amy Klobuchar.
Tell me why.
I actually went in and eeny, meeny, miny, moed it.
You're kidding.
No, between
Literally
two candidates.
in the booth.
In the booth.
Whoa. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo? That's not how you should pick your potential future president. Although it is how the president picks his spray tan shade for the day. And it's like, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Ooh, creme brulee sounds fancy. So fancy. So New Hampshire voters spent the day carefully deciding who they want to be the Democratic nominee. But of course, none of the votes matter if they aren't counted correctly. Iowa. Luckily, according to state officials, they've got this thing under control.
New Hampshire Secretary of State Bill Gardner, he told us he slept well last night and today's voting will be simple and secure.
Keep it simple. Keep the moving parts the smallest number you can.
Could this be hacked in any way?
You can't hack a pencil.
How many apps do you have involved in this process?
We don't have any apps involved in any of the tabulating of the counting.
No apps?
No apps.
It's an app-free election, you can guarantee that?
Yes.
You know, it's funny how a few years ago, people were like, guys, we need to vote with our phones, it's the future. But now, thanks to the disaster in Iowa, it's like, we're going back to how our forefathers did this, okay?
I'm here in New Hampshire, the live free or die state. And right now, it's so cold, I feel like dying. After the DNC shat the bed in Iowa's caucuses, New Hampshire has a real chance to be the first state in the nation to lead the presidential nomination process. I'm here at the state capitol to find out more. So cold! Ah!
The only results out of the Iowa caucuses was just how bad they blew it.
This is an unmitigated disaster.
It could not be more of a disaster.
Nightmare disaster.
Disaster?
Disaster.
This is the death knell. If it's not the death knell, somebody should get fired.
So now the pressure is on New Hampshire to get it right.
All eyes now turn to the New Hampshire primary.
It's going to be the most important primary in the cycle.
I searched the State House to make sure the people in charge were hard at work.
Hello? Where the hell is everybody?
This place was emptier than the DNC's bowels after they shit all over themselves in Iowa. Turns out the governor was calling a very important last-minute press conference to explain how New Hampshire is the best at elections. We hadn't really planned for this, so we crashed the presser TMZ style. Turns out you can get in anywhere with a suit and a camera crew. You could sense that there was more at stake in this primary than usual.
Our press corps seems to have grown.
The governor and what appeared to be all the Democratic candidates came out to deliver their remarks. Warren, Bernie, Yang. This press conference had everything. An old man wandering around clearly confused. A PowerPoint presentation with voting clip art. And of course, a guy live streaming this on Facebook for likes.
Well, thank you very much. We're going to open it up for questions, I think.
Finally, the governor of New Hampshire took our questions. After a couple of softballs, I found my chance to ask the only question that Americans actually wanted to know.
Mr. Governor, after the disaster in Iowa, are you able to promise the people of New Hampshire and the nation that New Hampshire will not this up?
New Hampshire is going to get it right. We've gotten it right for 100 years. We're going to keep getting it right.
The governor's non-answer only raised more questions.
Mr. Governor, if this goes off without a hitch, how do you plan on gloating to Iowa? Are you willing to go on the record to say that Iowa sucks and New Hampshire rocks? Can you assure your citizens that your votes will be counted unless they're for Bernie?
I guess we'll have to wait to get our questions answered.
Mr. Governor, who are you voting for, Mr. Governor?
Will New Hampshire be a corn-fed cluster like Iowa? Only time will tell. But am I excited to get out of this freezing political pony show hellhole? I vote yes.
Coming out of the Iowa primary, the big winners were Bernie Sanders, Pete Buttigieg, and anyone who didn't build that shitty app. And last night in New Hampshire, those top two kept their momentum going.
With a win in New Hampshire, Senator Bernie Sanders taking control as the Democratic frontrunner, but not too far behind him, Pete Buttigieg. Despite winning the popular vote in both Iowa and New Hampshire, Sanders is behind in the overall delegate race by 2.
One of the night's other big winners, Senator Amy Klobuchar, who took 3rd place. She capitalized on the moment by reintroducing herself to the country.
Hello, America. I'm Amy Klobuchar, and I will beat Donald Trump.
Yes, last night may have been the best night for Bernie Sanders since he won that free cruise on Noah's Ark, but New Hampshire's biggest surprise was Amy Klobuchar, who burst into the national spotlight with a 3rd place finish. And the timing couldn't be better for Klobuchar. Because in many ways, you see, the presidential campaigns are like getting drunk at a party, right? You want to peak at the right time. See, the other candidates, they had their surge last year, which was too early. It's like getting wasted at 6 p.m. Yeah. Because by the time the party's really going, you're puking in the bushes like, I'm so sorry, I didn't pace myself. I promise I'll do better in South Carolina. So for Bernie, Buttigieg, and Klobuchar, New Hampshire was a dream. But unfortunately for some other big-name candidates, it turned into a nightmare.
Another major New Hampshire headline, the candidates who fell far behind, including longtime national frontrunner Joe Biden and Senator Elizabeth Warren. Both failed to get enough votes to earn any delegates. Before the race was called, Biden, who placed 5th, was on a plane to South Carolina, which will hold the nation's next primary.
Biden saw the writing on the wall. He had left even before the polls had closed, live streaming into his campaign's New Hampshire watch party.
Oh, Joe Biden left New Hampshire before the polls were even closed? I mean, I've heard of fans leaving the game early, but you know it's bad when the team leaves early to beat the traffic. The coach is just like, all right, guys, screw the 4th quarter, let's just start the bus. I also feel especially bad for Biden's supporters, I'll say that. Think about it, you came all the way out to see your candidate, and then instead all you get is a video. Hey, imagine you were in like the dentist chair and your doctor pops up on the screen like, aloha from Hawaii. Here are 3 simple steps to perform your own root canal.
But let's begin tonight with the results of last night's voting in New Hampshire in Indecision 2012 with 100% of the votes counted once again. The man of the night won Millard Mittington Romney, who captured New Hampshire with 39% of the vote, followed by Ron Paul and John Huntsman. It was an historic win for Romney, as he became the first Republican non-incumbent to win both Iowa and New Hampshire while still having no one like him. Romney was introduced by his wife, Ann, who still has yet to endorse a candidate, and was accompanied by what I can only assume is some type of Osmond tribute band. I got 2 words for the Romney campaign. Bachelor auction. Wow. I'm sorry. To the victory speech.
We do remember when Barack Obama came to New Hampshire 4 years ago. He promised to bring people together. He promised to change the broken system in Washington. He promised to improve our nation. Those were the days of lofty promises made by a hopeful candidate.
Yeah, what a jerk that Obama was. Oh, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. Ass. Empty suit, standing on a platform in New Hampshire making lofty promises he knew he couldn't possibly fulfill. I'm sorry, Mitt. I interrupted you. Continue.
I will cut, cap, and balance the federal budget. I will make the federal government simpler, smaller, and smarter. I will insist on a military so powerful no one would ever think of challenging it.
See, people, my promises are realistic. A tiny government, a balanced budget, and a giant invincible army. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you New Sparta. the only question that remained last night, who would be the first pundit to dismiss Ron Paul's second-place finish?
NBC News can now project that Ron Paul will finish second.
If you take Ron Paul out of this, what would have happened to Huntsman? Huntsman is the real second here.
No, you can't! You're not allowed to just take Ron Paul out of this! That's just physics. You're not... And you know, if you add 2 zeros to the end of Huntsman's totals, he would have been in first by hundreds of thousands of votes. An unprecedented victory. Why is no one talking about this? Because it didn't happen! We're going to go now live to our senior political analyst, Stephen Colbert. Now, Stephen, thanks for joining us. You're actually in Dixville Notch, New Hampshire, and that's the town that traditionally cast the first votes of the primary at midnight the night before.
Yes, John. Fascinating story behind that tradition. I can only assume.
First of all, Stephen, glad to see you're all bundled up. It must be awfully cold up there.
Oh, yes, John. Oh, for a witch's tit with which to warm myself on this historic New Hampshire evening.
So cold you can't even see your breath.
It's too cold, John.
Now, Stephen, do you think this clearly very nasty weather will affect the outcome of the primary?
Oh, not really, John. Kerry, Dean, Clark, Lieberman, their people have worked far too hard to let a little cold weather keep them from the polling stations.
And what about Edwards?
His people are pussies, John. Anything below 40 degrees, they just go back to bed. Oh, Lordy, pull up the duvet. I'm a hothouse flower whose roots are getting frosted.
Stephen, in talking with people as they left the voting booths, what struck you most about the mood of these voters?
I would say the anger, John. Democrats here are very angry.
At the president?
No, at me, John. Me and my fellow journalists. You see, locals know that to those of us in the press corps, New Hampshireites are merely the people whom we ambush outside PTA meetings, extracting sound bites from reluctant dairy farmers whose opinions we will discard like yesterday's bum wipe. Man on the streeting them in sub-zero weather on their way to refill their insulin prescriptions, and exit polling the elderly for hours. Hours they'll never get back. Hours they could have spent loving their grandchildren.
Why do they put up with that?
Oh, who knows what's going on in their chowdered heads, John. All I do know is every 4 years, these beflanneled granite staters give me the footage I need, that I then send to you, so that you will send me a check. And for that, well, I will never repay them. John.
Thank you, Stephen. Stay warm. Stephen Colbert in New Hampshire.